Welcome to Physiology class. In this session, we will be discussing about transport of carbon dioxide, which is one of the major topics coming under respiratory system. So our topic of discussion is transport of carbon dioxide. The transport of carbon dioxide from the tissue or cells to the lungs can be described as under. That is, it takes place in three stages. The first one is diffusion of carbon dioxide from the tissues into the blood. In second stage, the carbon dioxide that got diffused into the blood is transported through the blood. And in third stage, the carbon dioxide that finally reaches the alveoli of the lung is eliminated during the process of expiration. So these are the three stages in which the carbon dioxide that diffuses from the tissue into the blood reaches the alveoli and is finally eliminated from our body into the atmosphere during the time of expiration. So let's see how the carbon dioxide is transported through the blood. The carbon dioxide is transported in three forms. The first one is in combination with plasma. The second form is by the formation of bicarbonate ions, and the third form is by forming carbaminoprotein complexes. So these are the three forms in which carbon dioxide that got diffused into the blood is transported to reach the alveoli of the lung, the major one being the bicarbonate ion. So let's see each one in detail. The first one is in physically dissolved form. Here what happens is the carbon dioxide that reaches the blood combines with the water content of the plasma and is then transported. Only 7% of the total carbon dioxide is transported through this method. I repeat, the carbon dioxide that got diffused from the tissue reaches into the blood, combines with the water content of plasma and is then transported in physically dissolved form. Only 7% of the total carbon dioxide is transported through this method. The second one is in the form of bicarbonate ion. As I've already mentioned, this is the major form of transportation of carbon dioxide through the blood. So here what happens is the carbon dioxide that got diffused from the cell enters into the plasma, and from the plasma, the carbon dioxide enters into the RBC. Okay, and within the RBC, the carbon dioxide combines with water to form carbonic acid. This reaction is catalyzed by an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase. So why is this reaction taking place within the RBC? Why can't all these reactions take place in the plasma? The answer is the enzyme that catalyzes the reaction, that is the carbonic anhydrase, is present only within the RBC, and that is why the carbon dioxide that reaches the plasma is entering inside the RBC. Okay, within the RBC, the carbon dioxide combines with water to form carbonic acid in the presence of carbonic anhydrase. Now, this carbonic acid will get dissociated into H plus and bicarbonate ion. The H plus ion will be buffered by the hemoglobin. As we know, hemoglobin is a strong buffer and it plays a very important role in the maintenance of acid-base balance in our body. The hydrogen ion so formed within the RBC will be buffered by the hemoglobin. And the bicarbonate ion that is formed within the RBC must be eliminated from the RBC into the plasma for the purpose of transportation, right? So this bicarbonate is transported into the plasma through an exchanger which is present in the membrane of RBC called chloride bicarbonate exchanger. The chloride bicarbonate exchanger that is present in the RBC membrane will help in the efflux of bicarbonate into the plasma in response to the influx of chloride into the RBC. Okay, so this bicarbonate is eliminated from the RBC into the plasma through this pump. Finally, the bicarbonate entered or reaches into the plasma. Now here what happens is, as we know, the sodium is the most abundant ion which is present in the exterior of the cell. So this bicarbonate will combine with the sodium that is present in the plasma to get to form sodium bicarbonate and is finally transported in that form. I repeat, the bicarbonate that is formed within the RBC is eliminated into the plasma via the bicarbonate chloride exchanger, and there the bicarbonate combines with sodium to form sodium bicarbonate and is finally transported. So this entire process helps in the formation of bicarbonate ion and for the transport of carbon dioxide in this form. This is a major form of transportation of carbon dioxide. So this chloride bicarbonate exchanger is otherwise called Hamburger shift or chloride shift. That is the influx of chloride inside the RBC, or the influx of chloride in exchange for bicarbonate is called chloride bicarbonate shift. And since this was described by a scientist called Hamburger, this is otherwise called Hamburger shift. So these are the form in which carbon dioxide is transported. Now, the last one is in the form of carbamino compound. That is 23% of the total carbon dioxide is transported in this form. Here, what happens is the carbon dioxide will combine with the amino group of certain components and is then transported. So in plasma, what happens is this carbon dioxide will combine with the amino group of plasma protein to form carbamino protein and is then transported. I repeat, in the formation of carbamino compounds, what happens is the carbon dioxide combines with the amino group of certain compounds and is then transported. In the plasma, this carbon dioxide combines with the amino group of plasma protein and is then transported in the form of carbamino protein. Now, what happens in RBC? This carbon dioxide combines with the amino group of hemoglobin and is then transported in the form of carbamino hemoglobin. So these are the two forms in which carbon dioxide is transported as carbamino compound. Only 23% of the total carbon dioxide is transported through this method. So I repeat, carbon dioxide is transported through the blood in three forms. The first one being in combination with plasma. Here the carbon dioxide combines with plasma, that is the water content of plasma, and is then transported. In the second form, carbon dioxide is transported as bicarbonate ion, which is a major form of transportation of carbon dioxide. And the last one is carbamino compounds, that is only 23% of the total carbon dioxide is transported through this method. Now, let's see what is carbon dioxide dissociation curve. This refers to a curve that demonstrates a relationship between partial pressure of carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide concentration in blood. We will be getting a linear graph. Okay, so here you can see a mild fluctuation. This is due to the presence of carbon dioxide in the deoxygenated blood and absence of carbon dioxide in the oxygenated blood, which is responsible for this variation. And here you can see the graph will be linear. So that is it. Now let's see what are the factors affecting carbon dioxide dissociation curve. There are only three factors affecting this. The first one is oxygen. As we all know, deoxyhemoglobin will be having more capable of loading carbon dioxide than oxygen, which is otherwise called Haldane's effect. This effect, or this states that the oxygenation of hemoglobin in lungs increases the carbon dioxide unloading. So this particular phenomenon is called Haldane's effect. Now the second factor affecting the carbon dioxide dissociation curve is 2,3-disphosphoglycerate. Here what happens is this 2,3-disphosphoglycerate will compete with the site of carbon dioxide present in the hemoglobin and is then transported as carbamino hemoglobin. I repeat, what happens is the 2,3-disphosphoglycerate will compete with the same site on hemoglobin where carbon dioxide was meant to be binded, and therefore it decreases the formation of carbamino hemoglobin, which in turn shift the curve to right, which in turn shift the carbon dioxide dissociation curve to right, thereby decreasing the carbon dioxide carrying capacity. And the last factor affecting the carbon dioxide dissociation curve is increase in body temperature. Whenever the body temperature gets increased, there will be release of oxygen from the hemoglobin, which in turn increase the carbon dioxide carrying capacity, thereby shifting the curve to left. So these are the three factors affecting carbon dioxide dissociation curve. And these are your previous year questions. Carbon dioxide, transport of carbon dioxide in lead and haldene's effect was asked as a short essay question, and the transport of carbon dioxide is lead alone is asked as a short answer question. So that is all about the transport of carbon dioxide. So whenever this question is asked, first you have to mention the stages through which carbon dioxide is transported. In second, you have to mention the forms in which carbon dioxide is transported through the blood. And at last, you have to mention what is carbon dioxide dissociation curve and what are the factors affecting it, which in turn leading to the right and left shift of the curve. I hope the concept is clear. Thank you.